mentioned, my name is Tarun. I work for the company called Ebuyer group of companies, and I mainly look after the whole of the information security piece of the whole group. Currently, there are a couple of many companies, to be honest, actually inside the group, but I'm mainly looking forward at them. I mean, I'm going to talk only about the Ebuyer today, because if I start talking about the other companies, we're going to spend the whole of the 10 minutes talking about companies, really. So, as I think in the last couple of years, I've been with the business. I've been mainly focused on various areas, really, like technology, the risk, the compliance, the payments, and lately, most recently, which is the security awareness and the security culture part of the side of the business. And that happens to be the topic of discussion today. And mainly just a few things what I've learned. I would like to share a few things which I've learned during this particular developing a security culture program, and that's what I would like to talk about today. So let's get into there and get started. Actually, a little bit about the introduction on the company itself, the Ebuyer. We are mainly, the Ebuyer is an online retailer. As some of you may have heard of, we are retailers. We sell around technology, electronics, and office supplies. We are the third most visited site in the UK after Apple and PC World in the specific category, which is the computers and shopping, really. There are 4.6 million registered customers, and we get around 39 million visits, website hits in a year. We employ over 250 people, actually, but overall the group of company has around less than 3,000 people, I think. We are, sorry for you Londoners, we are based actually up north in a nicer part of the country there, and in a more picturesque sort of location, you can see up there, really. We got a nice massive warehouse, which is 280,000 square feet, which can accommodate up to 1,363 elephants. I'm not sure how does it fit actually in there, but yeah, we haven't tested that really for sure. So, going further, getting back into the topic today, really. In the past, you must have heard this particular quotation by Bruce Schneier, and he mentioned that amateurs hack systems, whereas professionals hack people. I wouldn't call Cal as an amateur, though, really, but yeah, certainly, that was sort of, it still holds true actually today, really, because in the time you spend in the last 15, I mean, I've been in this industry for 15 years, and most of my time, I think I've been working on the technology side of things. So I've spent a lot of time securing technology, fixing things, making sure everything is secure, systems are patched, and we have got firewalls, IDS, IPS configured rightly, making sure people can't get in. But during this time, we've overlooked a lot of, until sort of recently, probably in the past few years, we've sort of overlooked a massive, a critical element actually of security, which is the human side of it. And that is the problem where we have at the moment, actually. So we've got good stacks of technology. We got firewalls, IDS, IPS. We got SIM solutions. We got everything in place. But as soon as we give the keyboard to the user goes up there and gets on the internet, clicks on a link, and there you go, you're gone. So there you go. So what we're looking to, what basically I'm focused in the last couple of years has been sort of mainly to develop a program where we can, most of the companies do have a security awareness programs. I'm sure most of you all have, which is either compliance-driven, mainly more of a tick box exercise, making sure the users actually go through a certain sort of a e-learning module, or newsletters. You probably display newsletters, postcards, and post sort of stuff and all those things to make your users aware about the security issues. But that hasn't worked enough, really. That's definitely a requirement, but it still hasn't worked enough for the users to be aware about what the culture we expected from them, really, or what kind of behavior we expect from them in different terms, in terms of the organization. So going sort of, when I talk about the culture, how do you define a culture of a security culture of an organization? So I've got a bit of a definition there around here. The culture is basically, it's sort of is a pattern of beliefs and behaviors, assumptions, attitudes and ways of doing things, really, to that promote security. It's what actually the culture actually determines what the enterprise would like to does about security, rather than actually know what it says it intends to do. So, I mean, talking about culture, actually, how do you change the culture of an organization? It's not a one-day thing. It's not you walk into an organization and you say that you want to change the culture. It's not even a one-man job, really. So, how do you actually change the culture, basically? What do you do to make it better, really? So, it doesn't take a day. It takes months, years, sometimes, and it requires a massive amount of resources. I'm sure everybody's aware, really. It's not a one-man job there. It is, you need a team first. So you need to identify what you're trying to actually, advocate really in that respect, and what kind of culture you're looking for. So you need to know where you need to have a gap analysis done to where the organization is at the moment in terms of security culture, and where you want the culture to go really with the organization. So there is a bit of a gap analysis you need to do with that. And once you've identified where the weaknesses are, what needs to be done for that, then that's when you start getting building a team, get your buy-in ready from the sponsorship, from the C-level executives, get your buy-in from the HR, get people in, for the right people and for the right kind of this job, really. And it's, when I say the people, actually, and when you're talking about culture, it's all about people. It's all about, so who is the best person to think about? I mean, who are the best people actually in the business to talk about culture? They are the HR. They are the people who already have a organizational culture, who develop the culture. So they are the best people to focus on security, even though they are not security professionals. But you can, this is where you come into play, really, at the moment. The next step beyond the team, it's also about how you. I'm gonna probably go on there. Yeah, it's also about, the behaviors don't change in like a day's time. They that's what you need to look for in a short term, and that basically terminates into a culture in the long term. So that's a quote really from. Now, how do you build the teams? This is what you need actually from the different teams. So when it comes to culture, you need the HR. We need to communicate a message to all the different departments, the teams. You need to have your marketing buy-in as well. You need to have your marketing teams, your comms team. Because they are the people who actually know how to relate or how to convey the message to the users. Us being as security professionals, we are probably going to be only talking about techie stuff. So we're not the best people as I think so, actually. So this is where you need a lot of help from human resources, marketing, and of course the buy-in and sponsorship from the C-level management. And this is where we're focusing at the moment. So once you have everything in place, how do you define, what you're going to teach them, or what you're going to, how are you going to train them basically for the expected behaviors in terms of security? You need to know where your risks are in terms of humans. So we talk about all the different risks. We do a risk management for the techie stuff. It's exactly in the same way we need to do a little bit of a risk management for the human risks. And if you jot down few of the most critical risks in your, human risks in your business, they're not too many. They're probably most common to all of the organizations. Some of them are listed as here below, really. Everybody knows phishability is one of the topmost risk in the business. There's insecure password practices. There's mobile media. Users bring their desks, they bring their USB sticks and plug in there whatever they want really on that. On the social media, there is a massive amount of, a lot of people actually who share a lot of information off the business or their personal information, which probably they could, somebody could use adversely. And there is then risk of, losing devices. People, carry the devices unencrypted sometimes. So these are the most common top 5 human risks we sort of look at really. Now, once you know these risks, you need to teach them in a way that that'll help them, sort of teach someone else really. Like, this is where the study has found that most of the users, or that's the study which says that if you touch them at a personal level, if you teach them and make them feel that they can teach it to their kids, their families, their parents, if they start advocating the same things at their home, you can bring a behavior in them, an expected behavior towards security, which is much more easier, much more comfortable for them to accept it as a behavior. So immediately you can change the behavior of them, how they do things at home, and the same behaviors they can bring it at work. So it's one of the critical points where you think about, how do you actually make them accept what you want to sell them. Think about security as a product or a vision you want to sell to your customer. So if you got to sell something, you got to make sure you market it well. You make sure you understand your customer, and your customer in this case is the user, and that's the most important thing. So listing the points back in, get the buy-in initially first from the C-level executives for the sponsorship, get the HR involved, get the buy-in from the HR, build the team, involve all the teams which are required. You can have, like security champions in different departments, reporting to one person or a team of people, really, like the HR, marketing, and the security officer. You can also have, them distributing the information, what you want to convey or bring the expected behavior from the teams, and identify your top risks and relate those to the people actually in sort of, in personal way, really, which will get you the best results for the impact of a security culture program. So once you've got this program in place, you've been using that program for, say, 6 months, 1 year, make sure you repeat them every sort of so often, like a quarterly, and make sure people are reminded of the expected behaviors they are expected to from security. How do you measure actually whether it is creating an impact, whether the users are behaving exactly as you expect them to? So there are but a couple of models for it. I think probably one of the models which in the next slide is it's basically, these are the main things you need to consider when you think about the measurements. Identify only the couple of the most what do you want to measure, and what are the top human risks in your organization, and then use few metrics which are relevant and the greatest of greatest value, and put them in a model. Use sort of, there are ready models available like security awareness models from the SANS. Use them. I think up to the next slide is, I think that's one of the models here to use really, actually. And there's a couple of roadmaps done by SANS. I don't know if you've come across a blog called Securing the Human. There's got tons of resources. I've got them on the list in the next slide. I think you can probably use. There's a lot of free resources, and they're mentioned, and these are the toolkits we have been using to develop our programs and stuff, and bringing a roadmap on how we want to bring the security culture in our organization. There's a list of things. I think I'm not sure if the organizer are going to provide the slides or not, but if not, then I'll put it up on the LinkedIn or something, and you can take those links from there. There's a couple of references I have put in there, whatever I've used. And thank you very much for listening.